Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you here today. So the last couple of weeks we've been talking about this poem by Shuto, an 8th century Chinese Zen teacher. It's a relatively short poem, but dense, so we're spending some time with it. But it's short enough that I would like to read the entire poem to start with so that there's context for it. So if you're acquainted with the poem, you can revisit it and perhaps see it again. Song of the Grass Roof Hermitage. I've built a grass hut where there's nothing of value. After eating, I relax and enjoy a nap. When it was completed, fresh weeds appeared. Now it's been lived in, covered by weeds. The person in the hut lives here calmly, not stuck to inside, outside, or in between. Places worldly people live, he doesn't live. Realms worldly people love, he doesn't love. Though the hut is small, it includes the entire world. In 10 square feet, an old man illumines forms and their nature. A great vehicle, Bodhisattva, trusts without doubt. The middling or lowly can't help wondering, will this hut perish or not? Perishable or not, the original master is present, not dwelling south or north, east or west, firmly based on steadiness. It can't be surpassed. A shining window below the green pines. Jade palaces or vermilion towers can't compare with it. Just sitting with head covered, all things are at rest. Thus, this mountain monk doesn't understand at all. Living here, he no longer works to get free. Who would proudly arrange seats trying to entice guests? Turn around the light to shine within, then just return. The vast, inconceivable source can't be faced or turned away from. Meet the ancestral teachers. Be familiar with their instruction. Find grasses to build a hut, and don't give up. Let go of hundreds of years and relax completely. Open your hands and walk innocent. Thousands of words, myriad interpretations are only to free you from obstructions. If you want to know the undying person in the hut, don't separate from this skin bag here and now. So this was written in the 8th century China by a monk who had ordained at, I believe, 13 years of age, 12 or 13, who spent most of his life living in a hut arranged that was built on a rock on the side of a mountain near a monastery. living a relatively secluded life, although people did seek him out for his teaching. So here we are, living our lives in the 21st century in the United States or elsewhere. In a different situation, with different objects around us, different distractions, perhaps, seemingly different problems. So what do we do with this poem? One might think, well, I don't want to be a hermit. I want to be out in the world. I want to have friends and family and enjoy my life. I want to be connected. Actually, I want to grieve when I lose a loved one. I want to be part of the human community. I don't want to be a hermit. But I don't think Chateau was talking about being a hermit. There are many ways to interpret this poem, but one way to think about it is an exploration of the meaning of self. Exploring the meaning of self is a preoccupation in Zen literature. It's a preoccupation in Buddhist literature. Because understanding, having some sort of notion about self influences everything. It influences what you do in the world and how you perceive others as well, how you perceive other selves. And this poem explores, I think, some of those notions. Now, I would like to focus on just a couple passages today as we kind of work our way through this. This is a portrait of Chateau. It was actually done in the 19th century, so it's not contemporaneous. It's an imagining of him. And this is the portion that we're sort of up to as we work our way through this poem. Though the hut is small, it includes the entire world. In 10 square feet, an old man illumines forms and their nature. A great vehicle, Bodhisattva, trusts without doubt. The middling or lowly can't help wondering, will this hut perish or not? Perishable or not, the original master is present, not dwelling south or north, east or west, firmly based on steadiness. It can't be surpassed. A shining window below the green pines, jade palaces, or vermilion towers can't compare with it. So what is the hut? We raised this question last time. Because there seems to be a hut, and then there's a person within the hut. So there are those, at least those two characters. And last time we talked about the weeds growing on the hut. One way of thinking about this, and I don't want to impose this on the poem, but just to use it as an exploration, is to think about the hut as sort of our conventional self, the way we usually think of ourselves in the world, the roles we have, our roles in the family, sister, brother, father, son, mother, daughter. Our roles in the workplace, whether we're retailers or plumbers, lawyers, teachers, musicians, the roles that we have adopted for one reason or another. The roles more or less assigned to us by our society, race, gender, age, the conventional sort of demographic roles that we play, for better or for worse. So the shack is, the hut is, can be perceived as that, our conventional self. But though the hut is small, it includes the entire world, because in it, an old man illumines forms and their nature. A great vehicle, Bodhisattva, trusts without doubt. So within this conventional self, one can imagine residing something far greater. Something that is neither north nor south, nor east nor west. Neither inside nor outside, nor in between. Boundless. Steadfast. Not bound by either space or time, firmly based. And it's represented by this shining window below the green pines. And in contrast, jade palaces or vermilion towers can't compare with it. A shining window below the green pines. It suggests fire and warmth. It suggests human occupation. It suggests fire and warmth and intimacy. And a refuge. It suggests love. And in comparison, grand structures made out of minerals, jade palaces, vermilion towers, can't compare. So we tend to contrast these two aspects of self, the conventional self and that self that is boundless, timeless. Because that's the way our minds work. We tend to divide things up into dichotomies. But Chateau is trying to help us remember that this grass hut, that is certainly perishable, even the most stoutly built grass hut will deteriorate over time. We needn't worry about it because it's inevitable. He's trying to remind us that there is more than just that. There's a story from Thich Nhat Hanh that I would like to tell. He does a much better job of telling it than I do, but I'll do my best here. A few years back, as Thich Nhat Hanh was getting older, a grateful student of his proposed a stupa. And she brought this proposition to him. She said, we're building a stupa for you, a memorial. A stupa customarily contains, either some of the ashes or a bone or something of a renowned teacher. Memorial. So Thich Nhat Hanh replied that I don't need a stupa. Don't bother building a stupa for me. And she said, well, we've already raised the money. We're in the process of building a stupa, so there's going to be a stupa. So he said, well, if there's a stupa, if you must, I'd like you to place a sign on it that says, I am not here. I'm not here. And for those who don't understand or don't get it with that sign, I'd like you to put a second sign that says, I'm not out there either. And for those who still don't get it, I'd like you to put a third sign that says, if you want to be with Te, Te is what he referred to as himself, and his students referred to him as Te, master. If you want to be with Te, it is in your way of breathing and walking. As you breathe calmly, you are with Te. As you walk in peace, you are with Te. That is where Te can be found. I think the story about Thich Nhat Hanh, in a way, runs parallel to the poem that we're studying. But I would, I think it opens up some possibilities for discussion, and I would like to stop there, and we can break up into smaller groups and discuss these poems or this story of Thich Nhat Hanh. What is the grass shack, and what is the person within? How do they relate to one another? How do we get to know the person within the grass shack?